So, so I have all these things happening, and I want to save the furniture. So all of the people from the Art of Living come, and they say, you can't just keep the stuff with water. We have to switch it out. And I said, how am I going to do that? They said, well, that's all this children's stuff. You can't throw it away, and it took me so long to collect it. So they said, well, we'll take it all out. Now, it took me weeks to get that stuff down there. And when I'm saying like floor to ceiling, it's like floor to ceiling rooms full of stuff for this new center. So they come inside and they come down and they make a train. So first they sump out the water, they train everything out, they clean out the room, and now we have like 7 people taking buckets, and we don't know how to use this pump, and we're just trying to suck everything out. So we suck it and it starts to come back. Now my neighbors had 4 or 6 feet of water. For me, I was like, wait, I'm so much better. I only have 2 feet of water. So let me help them. So I told them, forget my place, the water is gonna come, let's go help them. So we sucked out my neighbors, and my neighbors, and my neighbors, and we created a system. And as we created the system, we went into the community and said, we have a pump, and we have some people, let's do the same thing, because now we understand what we're doing. And the water is not flood water from the river, it's sewage water. So we can manage this system now. And all of a sudden, we saw volunteers aimlessly walking with nothing to do. And then we heard that the city of Calgary had put bus loads of volunteers at the community centers, and they were passing pamphlets out. So they weren't feeling good. So we started to mobilize and make teams. And in the process of making teams, that's when I think the disaster management hat came on, where I said, you have hundreds of volunteers here, no volunteers here, and they're walking around, and certain areas are affected and others are not touched, so they're walking street to street. So I took a van, which is outside, and put, wave now if you want to volunteer. And I drove the bus around, and I started to load it and drop them in homes. And I would talk to the home and say, do you have help? No. So we would drop them. So we started to clear out Sunnyside very fast. And then they had a system. So in the nighttime, I said, well, let me go check the other river out. I used to live in Rideau. So when we came to Roxborough, wow, the devastation we saw, words could not put it, because it was like nothing compared to what we were dealing with, because the river flooded in different ways. And when we saw that, it was just something, I think, inside of me that said, we have these volunteers and they need guidance, and we can mobilize. So what I did is in the night I would go, they would leave 6, 7, so 3-4 hours night, I would just drive around and write down areas affected. In that, there's a police car. So I asked the policeman, I said, how's the area? He goes, trashed. It's horrible. And they just opened up Mission, and there's like all these trucks, and there are no people, right? What are you doing here? I said, I'm just assessing it, and I have now, by that time I had about 70 volunteers. So I have about 70 volunteers. I got a 15-foot generator mobile truck. I have some pump. I don't know anything about this stuff, but I have it, and I can make help. So he goes, well, why don't you talk to the guy in the back of the car? He wants me to talk to a jail prisoner guy. So he opens the window, and that's John Marr. And so John Marr looks at me and says, what do you got? I said, I have 50 to 70 volunteers. Okay, meet me at this place tomorrow. Well, we dispatch our volunteers. We don't have time to meet anywhere. So we bring our battalion from Sunnyside. They had just opened up downtown. It was Tuesday morning, and its traffic is horrendous. Volunteers are lost because we have base set up at Sunnyside. So that day, we met and we were distracted, but we had about 125 volunteers now that day. So the next day, John says, we were talking and I said, I start 8 in the morning. I can't do this 12 o'clock session. So he goes, then put me on your list first. I said, all right, 8 o'clock, so we dispatch all our volunteers to meet here. And we created business cards. And what the business card said, if you need help or want to volunteer, text or call this number. Meeting at Safeway parking lot. So we started to pass them out to all the volunteers in Mission as they were going home. So in the morning time, with the tweets and the Facebook and everything, we had 200 people show up. And Tim Hortons came and brought shirts, and this press started to go out. We did 700 volunteers that day. And we had already created sheets for assessing, sheets for doing the houses, and it just kept growing. So from 700, we went to 1,000, to 1,500, and I honestly think we cleared 2,200 people today. And the whole idea was, it was utility. There's so much need, in these areas that I don't think anyone could understand it. And I've assessed hurricane sites, and I can see the damage. And when you look at a flood, okay, a river flows a little, there's pockets, but these are the whole community. Much more to be done. So we did that, and you know what? Calgary's spirit of volunteers surprised me. We started with, like I said, Art of Living volunteers, and they became, I remember I had a conversation with them. I said, I need managers. I don't need you to work. And they looked at me and I said, look, our work is different now. I need you to manage. And so he goes, but we won't be working. And I said, you don't understand. If you manage with me, I don't have a team here. Like if I was in Texas, I can make a team. But here I don't have a team. And now you know what to do, right? So let's manage this. So they didn't believe me the first day, and we had so many challenges. So they said they were disappointed. I said, look, we went from 20 to 120 volunteers today. And by picking them up and you finding the sites, we just kept dropping buses of people all day and night. And we made people so happy because they would tell us, well, what are we going to do at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, contractors are leaving. Said, what if I brought you fresh meat? And so they said, where are you going to get that from? I said, how many would you like? It says 10. We have 14 passenger van. So I opened the van and 14 fresh people walk out of the thing. And the guy looks and he goes, we could do this. And it brought this hope. And I think that hope is what's driving. We came to a point where we had bobcats, dump trucks, we were filling city trucks, we were coordinating with city officials, we tried whatever we could without having any organization, any name, nothing. And I don't know how to Twitter or tweet, right? So they're all saying, and now I'm like learning all this stuff, and we now have a t-shirt. We didn't even make the t-shirt. We had Earls come, Subway come, just look around you. We have a whole event set up, and it's these girls. So this is Farah in the city. Here it is, Farah Koja. She's a realtor.
How you doing?
She's my realtor and a good friend. She just came to help me one day, and I had guests that weekend. So I entertained the guests all weekend. She took them around. And so we had no home. She gave me her home, and I said, help me. I need managers. And she says, what do you need? I said, I want you to donate your time for 1 week without thinking about anything. No work, no nothing. And I work 6 in the morning till, what time do we end? 12, 1 o'clock at night. So I go. And most people can't keep up. So she kept up because we're together in the ride and everything. And then Puja is from the Art of Living. So it really gave us this sense of purpose. And then everybody that came was happy. It was like a business. Volunteers come, they get a job. Homeowners start calling us now saying, I have a job. And these are homeowners that didn't want any help. They said, I can pay for it. And you look at them and you say, sure you can. How long is it going to take them to do it? But you don't have to pay for it. You got some help. We'll give you more help. Let's make the contractors work go double fast. And we'll save your time. And they said, I don't know if that'll work. And when they saw the type of people that came, electricians, contractors, drywallers, framers, painters, I mean, where do you see that? You know, I mean, come in and they're not looking for federal aid, state aid, nothing. They're saying we're gonna do this on our own. The biggest story for me was Earlton. So I saw they had a little camp set up, and Earlton's a harder place for us to get to, right? So I said, let's mobilize you. Let's get a whiteboard set up. They're like, oh, and she goes, I don't know, how are we gonna get that? I said, I have a whiteboard, I'll bring it to you. And the lady said, no, this other lady came, I have one too. So I brought them water. They were excited just for water. And everyone had flats of water at that time. Then I brought out pasta. They were like, wow, more community came. Then I brought out quinoa, and more community came. Then I had the Sidewalk Citizen breadsticks. They all came. Then brownies. They were like teared. And I came back and I said, wow, nobody's taking care of these people. They don't know even this table exists. And so every day I would go check in with them. And I said, you know what, tomorrow, don't worry, 50 volunteers your way. And you know, right, we sent 80 in the morning. And I go there and I look at their job board and it's empty. We don't have anything to do. So out of those, I had already assigned 10 to teach them how to do a job board. So they went assessing the communities. By then we had built infrastructure. So he calls me in an hour. I said, look, I got a whole bus, 103.1, sent a bus of 30 volunteers. Things. So so when we did the job board for them, we learned that at Sunnyside, the job board really helps. So they came in and they started to do that. So our guys came in. An hour later, I got a call, said, "What's happening? Did we get any jobs there?" And he goes, "We've got 15 already. We've got 18." And they just kept coming. So I said, "Okay, good. Our volunteers will be utilized, right?"
Yeah.
So it was awesome. And so Earlton, within 2 days or 3 days, I mean, they were back in like good condition. The guys said my back is better because he was lifting everything out. I said, "Look, now you stop. You've been doing this for 5 days. Now it's your time to just control, relax, and let people help you." And they just didn't understand that people could help them. They didn't see that. And honestly, I didn't either. When I first came in, aside the volunteers, I even hired 2 people to come help me. I didn't know anybody would show up, and I needed 2 people to help me carry some things to salvage, right? And help me pump in sewage and do all of that stuff, because I realized I can't get another 2 feet and all the way in. And it wasn't enough. And when all these people came in, even 10, 15 wasn't enough at that point, right? And it's such a small place. So where we're coming to that was a touching story, is that we did Earlton, we'd go there, we built this friendship naturally, and we'd see each other 5 minutes in a day or 10 minutes in a day. I'd bring them stuff, and they would come and give me a story. Well, today we had this Mission Possible event, and the lady that I made coordinator over there, they even had 2 hills that didn't talk to each other, 2 tables. And it was like different class systems and different ways. And I said, "Why don't you talk to each other? You're doing the same thing." So they brought one from down there and one down there, because they were going to run up and down the hill. And I said, you just call each other and we'll text you guys. And they started texting us jobs. And so today she came to me and she goes, like, both of us honestly cried. And this is the first time in all these days that I've actually cried and teared up, because she came and gave me a hug and said, I'm leaving Sunday to Victoria Island because everything is done. I'm driving and I'm going to enjoy my Canada Day. And that's been, I think, our motto the last 2 days, is let's get everyone to watch the fireworks and not have debris on their streets. So one lady called us today from Roxborough, and she said that over the few days, she calculated that she got 1,000 volunteer hours at her house. And we met demands in 15-minute response times. They texted us, and we had a line waiting. As soon as the first demand came in, and we had already had lists of jobs from the night before, and then when the jobs started to fill up and we needed more volunteers, as soon as the demand came, we shipped. And that could have been as simple as, I need a trough of water, I need 3 shovels, I need 2 lights. Now we have a text message system that goes out that says, I need a water pressure, I need a bobcat. We had 2 bobcats this week. I didn't even know what a bobcat was. So it's been very, very heartwarming and a humbling experience. And I was born in Calgary, and it's been a while since I had left and gone to school and came back. And I think I understand why I really love Calgary. Like, I'm proud to be Calgarian.